Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carrie. So, herpes, that word alone probably makes some of you wince. But here's the deal, millions of people have herpes. It's more common than most people think. And if you're one of them, it doesn't mean your dating life is over or that your relationships are doomed. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, the WHO, no, not that WHO, in their last study, which was 2020, 3.8 billion people share having the virus. 67% of the global population under 50 is estimated to have herpes 1, which is commonly associated with oral herpes or cold sores, but can also cause genital herpes. And about 11% of the global population has herpes 2. And in the US alone, around 1 in 6 people up to the age of 49 carry the virus. More prevalent than you thought, right? That means that if you're dating with intention, and that means dating often as you should be, if that's the case, there's a good chance you're going to date someone who has the virus. Dating with herpes is much more about navigating the conversation than anything else. In fact, most people will say the very worst part of having it is having to share the information with somebody new. So today I want to show you how one of my clients handled this conversation in the best way possible. If that's at all interesting, I hope you'll stick around because living with, dating with, and sharing that information with others, that's what's on the agenda. Also, it's important to know that a lot of people with herpes may not even know they have it. The symptoms can be mild or even absent altogether, which leads to underreporting in those reports. So it's way more common than you might think, and it doesn't need to be a deal breaker in your dating life. During a coaching session with a really fantastic client of mine, he shared that things were moving forward with a woman he'd been dating for a while, someone that he'd met while we were working together. They had plans for an upcoming date, and there'd been some conversation with this woman about staying over at his place. So together we brainstormed how he might bring this up in conversation with her and what he might say. I want to take a minute here to welcome Taboo, a new partner to the channel. I know there are women here, like myself, who aren't currently in a relationship. What I learned is that there are repercussions for mature women who aren't maintaining an active sex life, and that's why I chose to partner with Taboo. Their mission is to make sexual self-care feel as natural as our skincare and exercise routines. The founder of Taboo partnered with gynecologists, urologists, and pelvic floor physical therapists in order to create a truly gorgeous line of tools, not toys, to help maintain sexual well-being. The Golden Hour Kit, it includes everything you need to help address common symptoms, including dryness, low libido, a lack of body confidence, stress, things that often come up as our bodies go through very normal hormonal changes. The name isn't encouraging us to keep quiet, and that's why I'm not. We have to have these conversations with one another. So take a closer look at these really glamorous tools. Just check out the link in my description box below and make sure you use the code CARRY10 to get your 10% off when you take this first step to prioritize your sexual health. And remember, as my own mother likes to say, use it or lose it. He really just wanted to make sure that he was broaching the topic in a way that wouldn't scare her or mislead her in some way. And I think we did a really good job. So I want to read it to you, the message that we composed that he texted to her. And then I want to tell you how we came up with this wording and why I think it worked out so well for him. So I'm going to read it to you. I hope you can tell that I'm really feeling a connection with you. You mentioned a sleepover last week, and I'm also thinking that intimacy will be a natural next step for the way I'm feeling, maybe in the near future, which is why tonight I wanted to create a foundation for that by sharing that I have herpes. He goes on to say, it's mostly an inconvenience for me, but I know that other people don't always understand, have misinformation, or may be confused about what that looks like and how a physical relationship works when one partner has to be careful sometimes. Now, I think that's kind of great, and let's start with how he talked about the connection. He starts the message by expressing genuine interest and the connection. He's not just dropping the herpes bomb out of nowhere. He's building a foundation first, and I think that's key. Your relationship isn't just about herpes, so don't make that the lead. Make sure that you remind your partner that there's something real here and something special, and that's why you're having the conversation. Next, he frames the conversation as something he is ready to talk about. Not as a dramatic confession. He uses open to talking, which makes the conversation feel less like a burden and more like a natural part of moving forward. A lot of people have misconceptions about herpes, which is why he mentions that some people may not fully understand it. And that opens the door for a calm, factual discussion instead of allowing fear or stigma to take over. So this message is a perfect example, I think, of how to approach the conversation. Kind of gently, definitely honestly, and without shame, for sure. But here are a few other things that I was thinking about that I thought could be helpful. When you are talking about herpes, it helps to have some basic knowledge. Herpes is common, it's manageable, and for most people, it's an occasional inconvenience, not a major life-altering condition. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, so be ready to explain what it means for you and how it impacts your life, if at all. This is about creating a safe space for both of you. I'd make it clear that you don't need a response immediately. If they maybe need to look into the situation for themselves. Dating with herpes is really just about being real with yourself and your partner. No need to hide or feel embarrassed. Sure, it might feel like an awkward conversation at first, but having those honest conversations can actually strengthen your bond. You'll probably find that a lot of people are open and want to understand better what this means for the two of you together. And it's really a part of building a healthy relationship. Having this candid conversation early on might even make future conversations easier because you started with this one, which made you both a little vulnerable. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering where to meet other people who already understand the situation, there are like a handful of dating apps specifically created for people living with herpes. No conversation required. The first one is called Positive Singles. This one is the largest dating site for people with STDs, including herpes, and they have over 2.5 million conversations each month. It's known as a very supportive community where members can share their experiences without a stigma attached. That platform also emphasizes privacy, allowing users to keep their information anonymous until they feel comfortable sharing. And next would be Meet People with Herpes, MPWH. And that app caters exclusively to people that have the herpes virus, providing a safe space for members to connect. And there are a few more, so if you're interested, make sure you Google that. Personally, I think you can handle the conversation and that both people don't have to already have the virus to be compatible, but certainly if you want to avoid the conversation entirely, that is one way to do it. And these platforms don't just offer dating opportunities, but also community support for people who might experience isolation and stigma that some people associate with having herpes. I hope you found that interesting and helpful. If you did, perhaps you'd like to check out this episode on another hard conversation for some couples, money, super sexy. Oh, and please give the episode a thumbs up. That's my mom reminding you, and I hope you'll click the subscribe button before you go. Appreciate you stopping by, and I'll look forward to the next time. Until then, thank you, and have a good one.